one of his other employees. Basically, just is another meet and greet, and to try to give the planning commission some ideas to what directions has moved forward since this period of time. So, sure. So I'd like to ask Mr. Olsen to come up.
Good. I'll use the microphone where I usually talk louder. So once again, I'm Ron Olsen with Olsen and Associates. We are a firm that does municipal planning, engineering, limited architecture. We are currently under contract with the township to assist you in preparing a comprehensive plan, which the Pennsylvania Municipalities Planning Code says should be done approximately every 10 years. So your initial contact with our firm would have been through Jeff Pierce, who is director of our planning department. Jeff and his wife Karen have been with us for 15 years or more, heading that up. I think you know that Jeff passed away unexpectedly.
Just, on behalf of the board, it came as a shock to us. We feel very bad, and our condolences.
Yes, and Jeff did not expect that. I talked to him. He knew he had some problems, but he thought he'd be working another 5 years or so. But that being said, we want to proceed with the comprehensive plan. As Bruce mentioned, we did come down and meet informally with the supervisors, 4 to 5 supervisors, and got some good information. It was an informal meeting. There were no decisions made, of course, but they wanted to meet us. With me tonight is Chris Francis, who is a municipal planner, and we have retained him to help us. I was looking for Chris for 5 years, and I hope, of course, I'm going to keep working on this project, and Chris will too, but I think you'll enjoy working with Chris. He's very enthused about community planning, and he has a master's degree in urban planning, and he has the enthusiasm which you need. Let's see, I talked to Bruce last meeting with the supervisors, but then I talked to him again today, and I said we had mentioned to the supervisors that we would be coming down just so that you knew who we are. And Bruce mentioned that you had a pretty full agenda tonight, especially the elementary school is going to take your time. So we don't really think we should get into the comprehensive plan tonight. However, we do have the first draft of the comprehensive plan for you, and we have 5 copies of it for the board members. The supervisors have copies, but we're not in color, so we owe them some new 3-ring binders. Perhaps, Chris, maybe you could. That one is not on top, and the other ones should be fine in there.
Well, this document took into account a lot of the, at least the base information that we have provided to you.
That's what it is. It's
okay. It's a cleaned up version.
Yes. What it has in there is a lot of the census data, population trends, comments, some limited comments about the history of the township. There's a section in there on transportation routes, a section on education, and things are moving very quickly in Cecil Township. So for instance, this proposal by the school district on the Muse Elementary School, if it goes forward, that should be added to our basic data in the comprehensive plan. So you have a lot of data there that would ask you at your convenience to maybe run over and get familiar with. But then the next and probably the more interesting thing that's going to happen is we will be meeting with you, and perhaps you're going to form a separate steering committee to help you. And I think the fun of it is with the data that we have from the past to the present is trying to project what's going to happen in the future, and that's sort of where the, to me, that's where the fun is. So, let's see, it's my understanding that there was an advertisement for volunteers to serve on your steering committee, but I'm not sure what the responses were.
Did that take place, Chris?
There was, our manager put out a public service announcement in the Observer Reporter. I'm not sure. I know that we have a few interested parties, but I'm not sure exactly where it stands at this point.
Something you might consider is forming what we call a moving steering committee, whereby the Planning Commission would be permanent members, or not all of you if you don't want to be, but then you could invite people to come in and serve or visit for a certain number of meetings. For instance, if you have farmers still in the township, I think you're only down to about 3 farms in the township, but let's say you wanted their input in your comprehensive plan, you could invite them to come in and comment on things of their interest. And then once they've expressed their opinion on that, they probably would not really have it, they might want to continue on, but they might want to go off the steering committee. The same thing with developers, real estate people, educators, etc. So I think the next step would be probably deciding with you whether you want to meet with us in more of a workshop setting, or if you wanted to do it, meet with us on your regular planning commission evenings.
Are there any constraints with that, Bruce, in regards to what type of venue we have to do this in?
No, it'd just be more of advertising than anything else.
Okay.
We'd have to advertise a special meeting because.
So we could have a workshop, but it would have to be advertised as a public meeting then?
Yes.
Okay. That was my question.
So perhaps you can discuss that and find out what meeting, what days of the week might be best for you. Give us some idea when you want to meet next.
I think the other thing is deciding what to do about a steering committee, if you want to sort of form a separate one, how you want to do that. I think that's sort of a key step.
Yes.
They would ostensibly be involved with, the next set of meetings.
Is that something we're discussing, or is that something the supervisors are,
Well,
in regards to the makeup of that? I'm just curious. I have no idea.
the way the municipality's planning code explains it, it is that the planning commission is authorized to do things by the supervisors. So the supervisors want you to be, well, and it says in the MPC that you actually will be in charge, if you're asked, to help write the comprehensive plan. And then I suppose it would be prudent to get the supervisors to agree who you might be inviting onto the steering committee.
That's a question, Ron.
Yes.
Just back up to your very first sentence that was, you're under contract. I wasn't even aware of it. That went out. I tried to make all the supervisor meetings, and when did that go under contract?
I believe it was May 14th.
Well, initially, the Board of Supervisors authorized.
I signed it.
Yes, the Board of Supervisors actually selected the firm on the last meeting in December. Was when they adopted the budget. I think it was December 29th. And the contract was finalized May 14th. May 15th, I'm sorry.
And that's what, this was, Jeff's work was in here as well? Or this was what those guys worked on under 3 years ago?
No, this is Jeff's work here. What you see in through your binder right now.
But a lot of that information is what we provided.
Yes, Jeff.
It seems like a work session prior to the 7 o'clock meeting would make the most sense.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that would be a good idea.
That would be fine with us, because then you know you set aside a certain amount of time, and it's a productive way to do it. That can be done.
Is there a time frame in regards to the steering committee, how long it would take to actually pull it together?
I really don't know. It ultimately, the Board of Supervisors would pretty much finalize the selection process.
Yeah. So we would have to wait for that to happen before we could actually have the workshop, I would think. You would want to bring it in after we start the process.
It'd be nice if you could have a steering committee at least up front,
Yeah.
an initial steering committee, and then, because a lot of this is going to be introduction too,
Yeah.
and you don't want to have people miss that.
Yeah, especially if they don't have any background.
Yes.
It would be nice if they had the lack of a better word, tutorial as to what we're going to do and how it's going to, proceed. So we could be 2 months away from actually having a workshop then, theoretically.
That's true, but at least this would give you folks the opportunity to digest what
Certainly.
has already been compiled at this point.
And from our point of view, the quicker the better. Because we've worked with a lot of municipalities. Sometimes the comprehensive plan goes on for years. And then we find that eventually everything that we did is getting outdated and you're starting to go back.
That's what we ran into. That's
So
what we
it's
ran
almost
into,
like
yeah.
grabbing a place in time and trying to get something established and recommended.
And it's like trying to jump on a moving bus.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
development keeps moving. We're trying to not just, keep pace with it, but get ahead of it to a certain extent,
Yes.
so we're ready for it.
Yes. And just for one other comment about the comprehensive plan, it is a guide for the township, but it really does not have any legal standing.
Yeah.
Now, people would, in order to implement the comprehensive plan, you would eventually maybe modify your subdivision land development ordinance or your zoning ordinance. And then if people challenge what you have in your ordinance, as I mentioned, a lot of times the attorneys and the judge will go back to your comprehensive plan and say, why is it that these ordinances are written the way they are? And it's nice to have it be able to be backed up by the comprehensive plan.
Yeah, well, it's like the adult bookstore adage, you can't tell them they can't have it in the township, but you can certainly say, it needs to be in this area, this is what we
Yes.
plan for.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you have anything about the turnpike in here?
We were, not yet, but the supervisors let us know that the turnpike is being improved. I believe I sent a letter out to I'm pretty sure I did, sent a letter out to the gentleman from the Turnpike Commission who had contacted the township and offered to provide information if required. So I did send that letter out, but I haven't heard from him. But that'll be important.
There's a record of decisions already been made, we know where the road's going to be eventually, it's just, it hasn't been signed yet.
We asked for the maps
Yeah.
to show where the improvements will be made.
May I ask, what is this costing? Could you fill me in on that portion of your services?
The
Yeah.
cost of I believe it's $48,500, something like
That's the
that.
contract?
Yes.
And that is for updating the previous comprehensive plan, and you said that Jeff did put his input into this.
Yes.
Maybe what percentage do you believe? Because I think that it was just an introduction.
Yes, I mean, we do bill as we go along, but I don't have those figures.
Bill, as you go along, or how's that work?
I'm sorry, we do bill as we work on the project, but we always have money. We never bill before the project is done.